Good morning, everyone. Let me share my screen. Am I audible to everyone? Okay. So I have given a task last time. Are you aware of that? The notification service sending an email. Anyone did that? The morning batch has implemented the mail sender API itself. What about you then? No one did anything. Everyone is sleeping then. Okay, it's up to you whether you need to do it or not. But I'm not going to write a code for sending a Java email since you have very good examples. Um, Spring Boot. So here you will be having this option where you just have to auto wire this particular class, Java mail sender, and you need to write this method. That's it. And some set of properties where you need to give your username and the password. Username is your email and the password is your Gmail password. So once these are enabled, you can actually send an email to your email itself with the along with the booking details. Okay, so that's what you need to do. Thank you, Shiv. Okay, anyhow, I'll be asking you to share your screen and probably you can go with that. But anyhow, there is a 3 days gap, so I just wanted to explain the flow again, just in case if anyone is met with any of the confusions. So here we do have something called a booking API. Okay, so we do have a booking API. So here inside the booking API, we are actually receiving the booking DTO. Okay, so this booking DTO has all these details and we need to set only these details and we need to send it. The booking ID and the booking ID and the booking status will be set afterwards. Okay, the booking ID and the booking status will be set afterwards. So here we are going to call the create booking from the controller to the service. And here we are actually setting the booking entity status as pending by getting all the details from the booking DTO. And we are going to save this entity. So, but after saving this entity, why we are not returning the booking DTO directly? Because we need to intimate some services which are dependent on this booking service in order to do the payment. The payment service is one of the types. So here what we are going to do, we are actually setting all these details like booking DTO, booking ID. Why booking ID is really required? Because in the world of microservices, each and every service has its own database. There are no relationships between the bookings and the payments database because those are different databases and they have their own tables. There is no relationship. So in order to identify for which payment, for which booking the payment has been done, to identify those kind of thing, we have actually used this booking ID. So this booking ID is basically a UUID because in the world of microservices, we'll be using only the UUID in order to store the reference of this booking ID inside the payment service payments database table with the booking ID information to identify that this payment has been done with this particular booking ID itself. Okay. And then what we are actually going to do, we are actually publishing the details to the Kafka topic, which is a payment request topic. Okay, so here we are basically using the booking service Kafka publisher, and we are actually sending the details to the payment request topic, and then we are actually converting this to a string. So we need to send string data only in the form of JSON or in the form of topic. So here the topic type is string, and here this is also string, but inside the string we do have a JSON which represents the booking detail. Okay, so this is how we can actually send the data to the Kafka topic using the payment request. Okay, so now what we need to do from our side, we need to do only one simple thing. So this payment request topic is being subscribed by only one consumer, which is the payment service. So let me go to the payment service, and here you'll be having the listener for the payment request. So this listener will listen to this payment request, and this is having the payment request group one as a group ID, which is going to exactly act like a subscriber. Okay. So here it is going to receive the booking details, and thereon it actually process this payment. So here it will actually receive this booking details, and it will actually go to the process payment method of the payment service IMPL. So here the same thing, initially it is going to save the payment status as pending along with the booking ID and the booking amount. Afterwards, it actually saves the payment entity, the payment status as pending. Now it actually calls the make payment method of the Stripe payment gateway. And once the booking is successful, then here after this line 37th line, it will enter into 38th line. And if there are any issues like the card number is not valid or something like that, it will be going to the catch block directly, and here we'll be setting the booking status as cancelled. So based upon the response that we have received over here, so we are actually going to set the payment status as approved and the payment status as failed. Okay, so once this is done, we are actually going to send the booking detail to the payment response topic, so that there are two subscribers for it. Who are the subscribers? One is the booking service, where it has to change the status from booking status from pending to confirmed, and also it has to be listened by the notification service in order to send an email notification to the user along with the booking details. So here, if you can identify over here, so we do have a listener for here. We do have a listener for the payment response topic, especially, and also in the notification service, we do have something called the listener for the payment response, but here the group ID is different because subscriber cannot be same, right? So there will be different subscribers with different accounts. Okay, so that's the total idea. And here we are going to send email logic in. That means booking service Kafka listener will actually do the final processing. That means it has to change the booking entity. That means it has to set only the status. Since it is annotated with at the rate transactional, we don't have to say again this dot booking repository dot save of booking entity. So we don't have to do that if at the rate transaction is present. So that's the total idea. Okay. And the advantage of using this one is it doesn't commit the transaction if there are any errors. If there is any exception occurred in this particular method, then probably it will roll back the transaction. So that's the advantage of using at the rate transaction. Got it? So that's the total idea. And here, this method will run parallel, and also this method also will run in parallel. That means it's going to send an email to the end user. Okay, so here I just wanted to stop sharing my screen, and I just wanted who completed the task. May I know the name? Shiv Patel, right? Hey, Shiv Patel. Yeah, sure, Shiv Patel. Hi,
Hello,
Shiv.
sir.
Yeah,
Good
hi,
morning,
Shiv.
sir.
Yeah, can you just show them what you have implemented?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, sure.
Sir, can you see my
Yes.
screen?
Yeah. Just show the code to them so that you don't have to run this. I know it will work.
O-
You have
Okay.
tested it already, right? I
Yes, sir.
guess.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And just open the yes, Meliatel. Yeah. So here, this is how it actually looks like. Okay. So here you will be, sending the details. So string template. So you are basically appending the template and sending it. So do you have a sample template where you have actually
Yes, sir.
sent an email?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. I'm creating this template.
Okay.
This is the template. I'm using here Apache Free Marker.
Sorry, which one?
Apache Free Marker.
Okay, Apache Free Marker. Okay,
Yeah.
good,
Right.
good. Very good, very good. Can you just show me a sample email how it
Yes, sir.
looks
Yes,
like
sir.
to the end users? Yeah. Not to the end users, to the candidates over here. But really, Shiv Patel, thanks for doing this because this is really useful. And um, you have made my word. Uh, I think no one has done this probably because I have actually given a notification service to be implemented from their own side. And also you have added the consumer part in the application.yml, right? Otherwise it
Yes,
will
sir.
not
Yes, sir.
work. Can you show that to that these candidates as well?
Yes, sir.
Because I
Yes, sir.
have not given that because they have to think from their side also, right? Why it is not working. So can you just go to the application.yaml file of the notification service? Yeah, so here I have not given the consumer part. Okay, so you need to add this one, guys. Okay, good. Can you just go to your Gmail and show that template to
Yeah.
us?
Yes, sir.
Are you working anywhere, Shiv? Or
No,
you
sir. No,
are
sir.
okay? I think we cannot see any of your screen except IntelliJ ID. Can you just share the entire screen, Shiv?
Okay. Okay. Sir, now can you see?
Uh, Not still. Anyone able to see Shiv Patel apart from IntelliJ ID? Okay, Shiv, let me do one thing. Okay. So let me stop sharing your screen. And can you share it again?
Yes, sir.
So when you click on, when you click on share screen, there will be a first option, screen itself.
Screen. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, click that one. Yeah, I think now we will be able to, yeah, we are seeing it. Yeah, good.
Sir, actually, the mail is not find here. And can I run my services?
Okay, no problem. I think probably you have done that, right? So that will be
Yes.
fine for me.
Okay.
Okay. So I
Okay.
think it will take some time to start all the services because you need to start Kafka and all the other things. Otherwise, it will not work. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
I think hope that is fine. You can just run it, and you need to you need to do one more thing. You need to go to the infrastructure and delete the transactions, the offsets, and all those kind of things, right? In order to make the Kafka up and running again.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So meanwhile, you can do that and show me if you are done with that and have received that one or not. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Shiv.
Thank you, sir.
And what about others? Hmm? Others are sleeping at their home or what? Since you have got 3 days, you enjoyed it. And I don't know whether that's the reason I have explained the flow again, because no one has to miss the flow. Huh? No one did that except Shiv, I guess. Hmm? Hmm. This shows your interest then. Huh? There might be n number of things. I know everyone is busy, but uh, there should not be any limits for your learning, because learning gives you a lot of money. That's what I can say in future. Okay. So even I'm enhancing my knowledge as much as I can day to day, so that it will be useful in my daily activities as well as for the future levels as well. Okay, you got the mail. Can you show that to me, Shiv? Just share your screen and show that. That will be fine. Yeah, so this is what he has: booking ticket confirmation and user ID, seat selected, show date, show time. Very good, very good. Thank you so much, Shiv, for your kind attention. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. Okay. Shiv has done that. So probably if you just wanted the same application, you can just ask or reach out to Shiv in Telegram in order to get that, because it's a very small code. You don't have to write much. Okay. Since all those use cases are already available on Google, if you just wanted to explore it, you can explore it from your side and do the same thing for everyone. Okay. So I just wanted to ask one question to everyone. First of all, so we are actually done with the movie ticket booking system. Okay. But we have to understand still a lot of use cases from our side. So I will let you know there are a lot of things like we need to discuss about Flyway database migrations, and then we need to learn Angular from our side. And who has already gone through HTML, CSS, and JavaScript? First of all, no one has gone through HTML, CSS, and JavaScript during these 3 days. I said to you, right? At least you must have a basic knowledge of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay, and TypeScript. Thank you, Giridhar. If you don't have any idea, I will not be able to help you, because I cannot teach HTML and CSS as well as JavaScript. JavaScript is not required, because anyhow we are going to use TypeScript only for our Angular based applications. You don't have to worry much, because everything will be started from the scratch level itself. And basically, I will be telling all of most of the things in detail by having a CSS, up to which limit we can use CSS, and to what level we can actually write a CSS for a particular component in Angular. So all these things we are going to have a look into it. Okay. But my question to everyone: so since we are actually using, Spring JPA, Hibernate, DDL Auto as create or update. So in real time, do we use really those kind of things in detail, or don't we use Hibernate DDL Auto at any cost? Can you just answer my question? So do we really use DDL Auto in our real-time production applications? Do we? Hmm? Hmm. Yes, we don't use it in real time. Okay. So let me explain you what happens in real time. Okay. So I just wanted to take this one. Yeah. So let's say I have this. Yeah, I have this users database table. I just wanted to just go to the option database, and on top of this, we do have something called the reverse engineer. Okay, so just click on this and click on next options continuously. Enter your password. So there is something called a reverse engineering. So initially, I just wanted to select the users table for now, the users database for now. And once the reverse engineering is done, you'll be getting the tables like this. Okay, so these are actually, I just wanted to keep this as apart. Yeah. So here they will just give this ER diagram. We actually call this as a ER diagram. Okay. So what they are basically going to do, they are going to write some scripts, the database scripts in real time. They'll be creating the tables after having so many discussions which column is needed and which column is not, and what are the naming conventions for that. Everything will be done through the scripts itself. Okay. And once the tables are created and finalized, they will be giving this ER diagrams to the developers. And based on this, they need to write the entities, the repositories, the services, and the controllers. This is what we are going to do as a developer. So to the developer, sometimes it's the responsibility of the developer to create scripts sometimes, but we will also do that. But in real time, what is going to happen? I just wanted to tell you that. Okay. There is one tool which is already available, which is a Flyway database migration. So 90% of the companies are using this Flyway because it's an open source database migration tool. So let me tell you about this Flyway database migration. Okay, so Flyway database migration makes the developers' jobs easy, and also the database developers' job also as easy. Because let's say, see, initially you have you know, 10 to 12 tables or 10 to 15 tables. Later on, you have added some more tables and you have established relationship between some of the tables. Okay, so now you just have to maintain that complete history if it is going to some other environment, like let's say from dev to QA and QA to prod, and sorry, not QA to prod, QA to UAT and UAT to pre-prod, and pre-prod, that means the pre-production to production environment. So we should have some versioning for this databases. Okay, the kind of tables, let's say if table is getting altered, that means we just wanted to add one more column, or we just wanted to rename a column based on some business discussions that we do have. All these kind of things will be discussed, and we need to have some kind of versions. If there are no versions, we don't know what has happened, and why the table column has been added, why it was altered, what is the specific reason. All these kind of things has to be, you know, versioned. So versioning is very important when we design the database tables, or when we actually do some modifications to the existing tables, or we have to introduce any new tables in future for our databases. Okay, so for doing all these kind of things, we actually use Flyway database migration tool in order to do all these kind of things. Okay, so anyhow, we will do that, but after the Angular introduction. Okay, so first of all, we just have to learn about Angular, and we are actually done with the movie ticket booking system. So um, so right now we have not completed the Docker compose YAML file, but you can just keep it apart, because the final project anyhow will have all these kind of things, health check commands and all these kind of things. You don't have to worry about that, because main project is the ones that we have to concentrate on. And here this mini project is just for your reference, and major project is going to include a hell number of things like MySQL, MongoDB, Kafka, and a hell number of things like cron jobs, schedulers, and all these kind of things. Because let me explain you why I'm telling all these kind of things to everyone. Let me show you a sample for this, because it is not the complete full-fledged application. It is just a application that we have developed for testing. So I need to go to the real-time batch one, Hunger Savior. Okay. Hmm. Yeah. So here we have some flow. So here there are so many logics that has been written in the restaurant service especially. So here I can actually select the cart items. I can just add it to the cart items over here. And here I can just go to the cart, or And here I can actually go to this and I can do a checkout for this. And here basically I can just go and select a card. So this is what we have done in the backend using the Stripe payment gateway. And here we need to just enter the test card and the expiry and a CVV number. And here I just wanted to click on pay now, pay without saving the card. And here I will be receiving an OTP to my mobile. One second, I have still not received my OTP. 1 second. Unless I receive the OTP, I cannot complete this transaction. 1 second, guys. Okay, I got my. Okay. Click on submit. And there you go. My payment was successful, and that's all. Okay. So this is one success and happy flow for everyone. So this is what we are going to develop in Angular along with the backend application services, the microservices that we are going to develop. And here we don't have, there is another services also. I said, right, this is not a full-fledged application. In full-fledged application, we will have the coupon management service. We do have discount management service. We do have something called the web service mappings where we do integrate the Google Maps integration. That is a very big complex application. It has almost taken, I have actually taken one end of year of time in order to develop this application. But I have actually taken some of the services and extracted them simply so that the people can understand in a simple and easier way, where they can have only the API gateway, order service, payment service, registry service, restaurant service, and the user service. So these services are enough for you to actually work on microservices architecture, and also the front end application, which is this one. And we'll be using very simple styles to actually make the UI look and feel in a better way. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. And that's the reason I have asked everyone to go through the Angular, not the Angular, the HTML, CSS, and the JavaScript, at least the basics, so that we can start on Angular from today itself. But based upon the responses, I have not seen anyone who has really gone through the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Do I? Hmm? But anyhow, we'll be going through all those contents. But Saksham, I went through HTML and CSS. You don't have to learn it, guys. Just the structure. So what we basically have HTML followed by head tag, then followed by body tag, and then close the HTML. And inside the body, we can actually separate them into header, content, and the footer. Correct? So this is only the structure you need to see how it is actually going to work. Got it? So that's the total idea. Okay. And that's what I was, supposed to expect, that everyone has gone through the HTML, CSS, JavaScript or not. I just wanted to, explain that. Hmm. But I see very few responses. What is the reason behind that? What, guys? What, Suresh? What happened to you? You're not at all speaking today. Huh?
Yeah, I went through, so I don't have problem.
Oh, you went through already. Okay, just only the basics. I don't want anyone to go through beyond beyond the HTML and CSS. That is not at all required. Okay, anyhow, we are just going to discuss all those things in detail, but don't worry about that. Neha Kumari. Sir, I know basic HTML, CSS, JavaScript, but Angular I don't. Yeah, Angular, it's the complete responsibility from my side, Neha. So you don't have to worry about it. I just wanted everyone to go through the basic HTML, CSS, and JavaScript so that we can start on Angular. Okay. So right now, I think it's almost 9:45. But if you have any questions on the existing topics, you can ask me. But again, I'm saying, again, we are going to implement the API gateway, but with a very big complex architecture. You can't imagine how the flow is actually going from the API gateway. Right now, we have actually kept API gateway, the endpoint, circuit breaker, and all this kind of things. But in real time, that will be there, but there will be hell number of filters for authentication and authorization purpose. So we'll just go through that architecture once we actually complete Angular, because for Angular, I'll be taking 4 weeks of time. It's basically a month. Okay, so we are going to completely work on Angular, and I just wanted everyone to learn Angular because right now full stack developers are really required a lot. Let's say you know Java and you have a bit good knowledge on JS is not required, Saksham. So JavaScript is basically just a basic knowledge on JavaScript. That's it. Anyhow, we are going to use TypeScript, not a JavaScript. But at the end, TypeScript is basically going to convert to a JavaScript that will be understood by the browser. Okay, you don't have to worry about that. So tomorrow we are just going to start with Angular. This is a fresh start, and I just wanted to rewind some concepts which are already completed yesterday. So that not yesterday, the before 3 days, I just wanted to touch all those points related to Kafka, and I just wanted to conclude with that. Okay, and you can just keep your movie ticket booking system for future needs where we are going to write some test cases for it. Keep it aside. When the time comes, I will let you know, because there's so many topics to discuss, the major topics. Okay, so once we touch all those because main topics are really important. I think testing preference is given a very small preference, but if you don't know the coding and what you have done, if you don't know, then probably implementing test cases doesn't make any sense. Okay. Any questions from anyone? Hmm? No questions? Okay. So how, we can call microservices by using Kafka and API call both, but how we decide when to use Kafka or API call? See, basically, Neha, in the microservices architecture, some, sometimes we need to do API call. I will let you know once we actually start our backend microservices architecture for the major project. You'll come to know where you need to use API call and where you need to use Kafka. Okay. So 90% of the places we use Kafka, and only 5 to 10% of places we use API calls. But definitely you'll get a very good idea on this once we actually start with the backend major project and once the Angular is completed. Okay, don't worry about that. I will justify this statement from your side. Okay, you'll be really happy once knowing that solution. Okay, so don't worry about that, Neha. But of course, that is a very good question. Um, Anyone has any other questions Apart from Neha, any other questions or any other interesting points that you just wanted to raise? Hey, Naresh.
Hi, sir. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm good, Naresh. Tell me, Naresh.
I think you are in UK now, right?
No. I was supposed to travel to Canada, but my father' health condition is not that much good. Before one day, I came to know that because he is almost 84 years old, so I
Oh,
need to take a drop. So probably 1 second, guys. Once. Yeah, Naresh. So basically, my wife, my daughter, my father-in-law, and my mother-in-law, all four people went. But maybe I will be traveling with my father very soon, because he doesn't have a visa. So I have asked my company to initiate a visa for my father also. They said okay, because my company members are really grateful to me, because whatever the accomplishments that I have done for the past 3 years, they were really supportive. So they have actually initiated the visa yesterday itself. So once that is done, maybe I will take my father and mother also to Canada.
great,
That's
sir.
why
Great.
I'm still here in India, because I cannot, leave my parents at this particular stage by traveling alone to Canada. Right.
Yes,
So
sir.
I
True, sir.
thought
True,
of
sir.
that, but I don't. I thought that I never thought that my father will be in that particular stage, but of course, he's good right now. No major issues, but health-wise, he's good, but age-wise, he's not good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But at this time, we have to Indian weather and the climate should match with the UK, sir, because he said is the aged.
Not UK, right? It's Canada. It's Canada for
Canada,
me.
Canada.
So
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Hmm. I think Canada right now it is actually a lot of snow is there.
Yeah.
Snowfall is there. I came to know from my wife itself. So and my kid is really enjoying over there. I thought that um, during this snow season, I don't know how she will react to the atmosphere, but she's really enjoying with ice over there
Yeah,
and the
definitely,
snowfall
sir.
over there. Yeah. Okay. Thank you,
Okay, sir.
Naresh.
Okay. Thanks so much. Thanks for sharing
Yeah.
all the details, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sir, my
Okay,
side
Naresh.
is so we are using microservices, right?
Yes. Right, Naresh.
Sometimes when we can decide microservices, we are going to use the same database, and each microservice we are going to use the different database.
Yeah,
How we can?
yes. Basically, Naresh, let's say if you're having only 2 to 3 services, right? Better to go with monolithic architecture first of all. See,
Okay.
microservices will come into place whenever we do have a hell number of functionalities, right? Like
Yes.
sending an email, user registration, authentication, payment related services, right? And order related services, shipping, logistics, and discount management, coupon management. If you have hell number of functionalities, then better to go for microservices architecture. But here again, it actually it depends upon the architecture, how many services you do have, and how many database that you wanted to use. Let's say all the microservices are dependent on a single database. Let's imagine you have 25 services, 25 microservices, which are actually dependent on one single database. That means the database itself is a single database and it has hell number of tables according to the microservices. Okay. So here all the services are going to depend on a single database, which will make the database to be accessed very slow. Correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right? So if you don't have hell number of services, like 2 or 3 services, then go with a single database. Otherwise, if you have hell number of services, microservices, and which have their own kind of functionalities, that means one service wants a NoSQL database and one service wants a MySQL database, that is a relational database. If you have that specific constants, then probably go with database per service pattern, which is actually one of the famous design pattern that we do have, which is something called a Saga design pattern.
Saga design patterns. Okay, there is a
Yes.
microservices.
Right.
design
So
pattern.
where each and service has exactly one database.
Okay.
Yes, and we do have n number of tables inside that particular database for a single service.
Okay, sir. So
Okay, so this is where we actually choose between the single database or multiple database or monolithic or microservices, something like that.
Yeah. But nowadays, most of the microservice architecture, they are following the Saga design pattern, right, sir?
It actually depends, Naresh, because if you are dealing with transactions, see, transactions are basically application scope. They are not global scope. That means if you have a transactions happening in one service and a transaction happening in another service, every transaction is an individual transaction. Okay, because transactions are only application scoped. They are not global scope. If you are having a microservices based architecture, if you just wanted to work on distributed transactions, then Saga pattern will really help you, and you must have to maintain a different database per service.
Yes, sir.
Okay, because what happens here, databases are different and your transactions are different, correct? So
Yes, sir.
basically what you are going to do, you are going to basically use UUID in order to refer to the, let's say right now we are using payment service. Payment service has a payments database and a payments table, right?
Yes, sir.
So inside the payments table, what I have actually done, I am actually storing the booking ID, which is a UUID, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that is just to identify for which booking the payment has been done.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, UUID means why we are using UUID? Every transaction, it will change the unique ID, right, sir?
No,
If the
no.
first
See,
transaction,
let me tell you that particular point also, Naresh. See what happens. So let's say you have a booking service, you have a payment service, right? And you also have a notification service where you just wanted to maintain notifications table with the payment ID, the booking ID, along with the email sender options and all these kind of things, correct? So here, let's say booking ID starts with one, payment service starts with one, and notification also starts with one. I'm talking about the ID generators,
okay,
the
okay.
number generators. So it is really difficult to identify that same numbers, 1, 2, and 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Sometimes it is
Yes.
it is not a best practice to store that small numbers. We do have something specific pattern, which is something called UUID, which actually provides the 12-digit number, right? So
Yes,
which
sir.
basically gives a very good control over the microservices architecture to just simply identify this ID, and you can just use this ID in order to revert back the transaction or initiate the refund process and all these kind of things.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so basically you can use that UUID in a booking service, or you can just use it in a payment service, or you can just use it in a notification service. It's basically, the global scope where we are not actually storing the booking ID not only in the bookings table, but we are actually sending this booking ID as a UUID to some other service. It's better to use UUID rather than simply using numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4. It basically starts from 1, right? The
Yes,
database
sir.
primary key starts from 1. So instead of using that, you can just go with UUID. That is the standard approach of doing that.
Yes, sir. Sir, one more
Because
thing.
it actually generates over billions of UUIDs, which are actually unique across the application. Okay.
Yes, sir. So one
Yeah.
more thing, sir. In our single entity or DTO, we are using UID, user ID for one UID, transaction ID for one UID. The single
Yeah.
entity. We can
Right.
so it will once we done the transaction. So one UID generates separate unique
No,
key.
one second
Like
here. Transaction IDs are not UUIDs. Transaction IDs are real transaction IDs, which will be generated by the payment gateways itself. We will not be using UUIDs for that.
Yeah, sorry, sir. Maybe transaction, but any if single entity or single DTO having two UUID fields, sir.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Two UUID fields. So each UUID they will have separate the 12 digits number. Each transaction it will generate automatically separate.
Right, exactly. But you may have one question also. That means what happens if the UUIDs are same? UUIDs cannot be same because that doesn't happen. That's right now that is not happening at all. Sometimes very I think 0.001% it happens. Okay. But 99.99, yeah, 99.99% it happens all the way. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Any other questions, Naresh?
Nothing, sir. Sorry, we are using microservices as for the Saga pattern. We are using each service for separate database.
Right.
So, is there any disadvantage, sir? Maybe if you use multiple database, any disadvantage? Advantage is there, but any?
See, advantages is there when we have distributed transactions. We have to go with the database per service pattern, and that is being listed in microservices.io official website itself. You can just have a look at that page. Okay, you'll know the pros and cons of that. Okay, I think this is the official page where you can actually go to the microservices. Test.io. Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
So this is the official website, and he's the person, Chris Richardson, where he's the author of so many books, including the microservices patterns. So basically, you will get the complete information over here about the Saga pattern, and also the advantages and disadvantages. Basically, you'll get to know more things once you read the documentation. Okay. So I think everyone can follow this microservices.io, which is the official page of microservices, how to implement, what are all the things that we need to took into consideration before going to the microservices based architecture. Okay. Yeah. Suresh, do you have any other questions?
Yeah, I had one question. Like you mentioned about transactional, like at transaction annotations. So whenever you want to do auto commit, we have to use it, right? But normally, in what scenario we be using this? Like any particular scenario? Normally, when we create any record or any insert or from any.
Suresh, that's what I have said, right? So basically, transactional annotation is basically used to, let's say you have a method, Suresh. I think I have already explained the scenarios when to use @transaction. Let's say if you just one second. If you have just received one data from the Postman or from Angular application or React application, you just wanted to save the data into the database. Okay, for that @transaction is not at all required because you are the user who is going to save the database for the first time into the database. That is just a simple create operation, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, but later on, let's say you just have to, right now we have actually used this Kafka integration where we are actually sending the booking ID, right? And then we are fetching the booking details based upon the booking ID from the database, right? That is a fetch operation, correct?
Yeah.
So that is a fetch operation. Now what happens? Now, before updating the details of the booking details, right? I just have some code in between. And then if some exception occurs, what happens? The records will be still committed to the database. Do you know about this? If there is any exception which is happening inside a method, and you have saved the database record, and you have performed some steps after that, after saving the operation, what happens? Your database record will be saved with some exception details also. But what happens with @transactional? @transactional will commit the transaction only when the method is successful. Otherwise, it will not be committing the transaction. So this is where we
So-
actually use @transaction in the first place.
Yeah, got it now. Yeah.
And
Because we
other
don't want to-
scenario is no. And the other scenario is, let's say right now you have initially fetched the booking details from the booking ID. You have to send an email to some other service with the booking details, the initial details, and then you have to save the and you have to update the booking details again, and you have to send another email to another third-party service. If you have hell number of calls, the hierarchy number of calls inside a single method, then probably if something happens in between, that you need that means you need to roll back the first transaction and the second transaction also. Got it? So those two transactions has to be rolled back. In that particular case also, we use @transactional.
Got it. So if you use
Got
save,
it?
in that case, if you use save, then if there is some
Yeah,
error
it
or
commits the
glitch
transaction. It commits the transaction. But what happens after that, if you have any exceptions inside the method, let's say if you just wanted to update it again, right? The database which was saved again, you fetched it, you saved it, you performed some steps, and you just wanted to update it again. In that particular case, the first transaction will be saved, and the second transaction, you got exception. But the first record which was saved again, right, which was updated, that will still go into the database. We don't want that kind of transactions because that is a error scenario, right? We cannot save that. So that's in those cases, probably we will be using, not in those cases, exactly in this particular cases, we need to use @transactional. Okay, because @transactional will roll back the transactions if there is any exception is going to occur inside the method where it is annotated with @transactional.
So is it a fair statement that you can say circuit breaker requires transaction, right? When if you
Circuit
have
breaker? No, don't club
circuit
circuit breaker and transaction, Suresh. Circuit breaker is completely different, Suresh. Okay.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah. Circuit breaker is basically comes in the perspective of services. Don't think about databases. Okay.
Yeah, understood. Thank you.
Yeah. And so I think that's all for today. So tomorrow we are going to start with Angular, but really you'll be enjoying a lot because I will be giving some details, exactly some details which are really going to make you happy with your Angular learnings as well. I think tomorrow session will be much more interesting. Don't miss the session tomorrow because I'll be sharing a lot of details on Angular, the basic flow and how it is going to work behind the scenes. Everything we are going to work on that part from tomorrow itself. Okay. So that's all for today, and hope you like the today's session, the complete flow session of the version of Angular we are using is Angular 16, Suresh. Okay, Angular 17 came, but still we can use Angular 16 because Angular 17 has hell number of features like server-side rendering and all those kind of things. But we will be concentrating on Angular 17, which will have more features apart from Angular 14, 16, or even the 15, 14, as well as 8, 11, whatever it is. Okay, so we are going to use the recent version of 2023, which is Angular 16. Okay, and that's all for today, and I will meet you tomorrow at the same time. And just go to this microservices.io website. You will get a hell number of details, but don't go through each and every pattern. Just go through the Saga pattern and understand from there. Okay, I think theoretical introduction will be enough for you to learn this. Okay, and that's all for today, and I will meet you tomorrow at the same time. Have a great day and happy learning. Bye.